Hi, Arnadia. Hi, Prerna.
Hi Narmada, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All good. But Adya is not well. She has fever, but she wants to listen. I said,
Yes.
okay, I'll just be sitting next to you.
Okay.
Okay.
What's this? Okay, so let's get started. So we are continuing with story of Vishwamitra, and just a minute. Can you close the door? Laya's video I can hear here. So he was Kaushika. Now he's in Vashishta Guha. Can you put your video on, Laya and Arna, if you can? So it feels more like a story session. So he is having this conversation with Vashishta. He's in Vashishta Guha, and Vashishta is saying, I want to honor you. And Kaushika, who's now Vishwamitra, is saying, what is there for you to honor me? I am honored to be to be visiting a great sage like you. And I am so honored. There's nothing for you to give for me. So that's where we stopped yesterday. Okay. Um, Okay, so continuing, Kaushika felt that it would only embarrass the rishi to feed so many of them. And to save him this, he rose up very tactfully as if to go. Like Vashisha wanted to give him food, okay? So, and Kaushika is not by himself, right? He's with his army and like his soldiers and all that. So he didn't want to impose upon Vashishta. So he is tactfully trying to go away from there. Okay, Laya. Yeah, fine, no problem. So Vashishta would have none of it. Again and again, he insisted that the king, with his retinue, should stay and accept his hospitality. Finally, Kaushika had to accede to the request and said, so be it, my lord. You're so eager to play host to us, and I have not a chance to escape from your goodness. Laughing together, they walked out of the ashrama. Vashishta called out, Surabhi, child, Shabale, come here. Kaushika was wondering whom he was calling, and even as he was thinking about it, a beautiful cow, just a minute, a beautiful cow came and stood before Vashishta and said, You called me, father? Kaushika saw that the cow was unbelievably beautiful. She was of a lovely shape, and her hide was mottled black and white. Her eyes were soft and gentle, and Vashishta said, Shabale, this is the king of the country, and his name is Kaushika. He has come with his army, and I wish to entertain him and his retinue. Prepare for them a feast with all the things necessary. Let there be nothing wanting, and I want them all to go back satisfied. Hurry and create everything. Shabala was Kamadenu, the divine cow who rose up out of the milk ocean when the Devas and Asuras churned it for Amrita. So when Devas and Asuras are churning, this is a separate story, okay? So a little bit of the story came in the previous chapter also, where the Devas on one side, the Asuras on the other side, and they're having this huge snake around a big mountain, and they are pulling on both sides, and they are literally churning the ocean to take Amrit from there. So Amrit is something when somebody drinks that, they become immortal. Okay, so there's this very strong side of Asuras and strong side of Devas, and like Asuras seem to be winning, they're so strong, and their side seem to be winning. And so Narayana comes, he tricks in favor of, I'm not going into the full story, he supports and makes it in favor of Devas to win and get the Amrita. So before the Amrita came, Amrita in English is called elixir, okay? Elixir, elixir. Elixir means something that gives immortality, youthfulness, beauty, all of that, okay? Health and all of that. So before the final elixir came out of the ocean, many things came. And one of that was Kamadenu. Okay, so Kamadhenu is a divine cow and it can give like unlimited food and food. Okay, so now Vashishta is in possession of Kamadhenu. Okay, so I'm connecting the story. So the divine cow, which rose up out of the milk ocean when the Devas and Asuras churned it for Amrita, she had been given to Vashishta. She created a feast for a royal guest and his attendants. There was all kinds of food and drinks of every type imaginable. The food was such that it suited every palate. There were heaps and heaps of all the edibles they could think of, and the guests were served with affection and care so that everyone had his fill of food and was satisfied. Kaushika was extremely happy and he saluted the rishi with his men. He then said, My lord, never in my life have I been so entertained, and never have I tasted food like what I ate today. I want to ask a favor of you. I um, I was greatly impressed by the power of Shabala, your cow. A cow such as she should be in the possession of the king of the country. Bounty like hers should benefit everyone. Please give her to me, and in return, I'll give you 100,000 cows. This cow is a jewel, and any precious jewel rightfully belongs to the king. Please give her to me. So Vashishta was taken aback at the words of Kaushika. But he composed himself and softly said, I hate to refuse anyone anything, but Shabala is someone different. Not even in exchange for 100,000 cows will I give my Surabhi. You may say that you will give me heaps and heaps of silver and gold, but it will be of no use. I will not part with Shabala, and that is certain. Kaushika stood as though stunned. Vashishta's eyes were now wet, and he said, O king, Shabala is part of me, and I cannot be separated from her. It is like trying to be part the fame from a man who is famous. All my religious rites are performed because of the gifts of Shabala. I cannot give her to you. Kaushika would not give up. He said, I will give you 1,000 elephants, fully caparisoned in gold and silks. I will give you 800 horses and chariots. I will give you more if you so desire. I'll give you 1 crore of Kapila cows. How much is 1 crore? Does anyone know? 10 million, yes. And how much is 10 million? In Indian language, what do they call 10 million? 10 million? No. A million is 100,000. No, not 100,000. I'm confusing. A million is 100,000. 100,000 in India is called lakh. Okay. 100,000, 100 lakhs are 1 crore. Okay, so 10 million. Yeah. So Surya is correct. 10 million is 1 crore. Yeah. Okay. So he is saying, I will give you 10 million. So 1 crore of Kapila cows. Please give this 1 cow Shabala to me. If you're so desirous, I'll give you gold and precious stones without number. Vashishta shook his head sadly but firmly and said, No, she's my jewel and she's my wealth. She's my everything and she's my very life. My tapas is all comprised in her. What is the use of dilating on the subject? I will never part with her, and it is futile on your part to offer me wealth. I have no use for any of the things you mention. I have Shabala, and she will be with me forever. So that's the end of this chapter 20, but we are continuing. Okay, story of Vishvamitra. 21. A frustrated king. Kaushika was a Kshatriya and anger was second nature to him. He had never before been balked in desire and he had set his heart on the wonderful cow. He became very angry and he walked out of the ashrama. He commanded his servants to take the cow by force and they led her out of the shed where she was stationed. She thought to herself, Why has the noble Vashishta abandoned me? What have I done that he should punish me thus? The servants of the king are dragging me away from here, and my father has not done anything about it. She was crying, and her tears were falling fast. Her sighs were audible, and she told herself, I will go now to him and ask him why he has allowed this insult to me by the servants of the king. She suddenly broke away from the hands of her captors and ran with the speed of wind and reached the presence of Vashishta. She fell at his feet and asked, "Why have you forsaken me, father? Even as you are looking on, these men are carrying me away. Why are you allowing this?" Vashishta said, "Child, you have not been in the wrong, and I'm not punishing you. I'll never forsake you. This king is powerful and he's dragging you away forcibly from my ashrama. This army of his one Akaushini in number." Does anyone want to find out what is Akaushini? Akshoi. Let's do it together.
I know what it is.
Okay.
I think it's like a big army.
Okay.
1 second, let me see.
Yeah, we want more precise. So can we find out?
Yeah.
Let me see if the spelling is right.
I think I spelled it wrong.
AKS.
Wait, could you say that a bit slower?
It's okay. Let's do it together.
Akoshini.
Here, what can you see my screen?
Yes.
Why am I getting images? No, I'm getting only images. Are you able to see anything else?
It doesn't. It just shows like Facebook accounts, and it just shows like artwork, like Indian artworks of
Akshaushini.
long
Okay.
armies.
Anyone successful? Let me know. It's a word I have also not heard. So
In images, it might be.
this is in images. Looks like the matches.
Like if
Okay.
you press V1, okay, that's what.
Which one?
I don't know. One of the pictures might have a meaning.
What is Akshauhini? Akshauhini. Okay. Here in the book it is HOW. Here I think Akshauhini
This is
Sena.
weird.
So it's low. Honestly.
I can't hear anything.
Let me stop sharing and try again.
Brahmanis came to the Kurukshetra battlefield and fought the war. In this video, let's see what an Akshauhini means and the 18 people who had brought the armies to the Kurukshetra battlefield to fight the Mahabharata war. Hello everyone, welcome back to Zesty Nimbu. This is Sri Rekha. For all the new viewers, consider subscribing, and if you have not seen the satellite story on Kurukshetra, Parva, Bhishma Parva, etc. Now we are going to see what an Akshauhini actually means. So let's start with the smallest grouping in an Akshauhini. The smallest grouping is called a Patti. In a Patti, there is one chariot, one elephant, 3 horses and 5 foot soldiers. So these 10 together make a Patti. So the ratio in a Patti, which is 1:1:3:5. This remains constant across the battle formations and in the Akshauhini. 3 Pattis make 1 Sena Mukha. 3 Sena Mukha make 1 Gulma. 3 Gulma make a Gana. 3 Ganas make a Vahini. And 3 Vahinis make a Pritana. 3 Pritanas make a Chamu. 3 Chamus make 1 Anikini. And finally, 10 Anikinis make one Akshauhini. So Akshauhini is actually a grouping of all these things put together. Pati, Senamukha, Gulma, Gana, Vahini, Pritana, Chamu, Anikini, and finally Akshauhini. So if you have noticed, one Pati is equivalent to one chariot, one elephant, 3 horses, and 5 foot soldiers. So this put together is called a Chaturanga. All these things are called Chaturanga Bala. So Chaturanga Bala is actually
I can search it.
Okay, I think there's lots of interesting information. When we are reading Mahabharata, we'll go into it. Right now, we can understand Akshauhini is a huge number of horses, elephants, chariots, and foot soldiers. So he is having one Akshauhini in number of people against Vashishta and his few people who live in the ashrama, right? So this army of his one Akshauhini in number is his, and he thinks he is invincible, and hence his action. Shabala said, "My lord, what is the power of a mere king in the presence of a Brahmin? Brahma Bala is far superior to that of a Kshatriya. Your greatness is unequaled in all of the several worlds. Kaushika is powerful, no doubt, and a great Kshatriya. Give me permission, father, to show him that even a weakling like me, when blessed by you, can be more powerful than he is. I will punish his arrogance and humble his pride." Vashishta looked at the cow whose breath was coming in gasps. So angry was she. Her eyes had become red and her tail was lifted up in anger. The rishi smiled at her and said, "All right, I grant you permission. Create in a moment an army which can tackle the king's army." Surabhi just shook her body once, and there appeared a huge army, hundreds of warriors, and they went to fight with the army of Kaushika. Finding that his army was being defeated by this one created by the cow, Kaushika, with his eyes red with anger, entered the fight and fought with the army of Surabhi. Seeing her army suffering at the hands of the king, Surabhi created more warriors to join the fight. Even as the army got thinned out, Surabhi kept on creating more and more. Kaushika was now joined by his sons, and all together they attacked Vashishta himself. The rishi with a hankara burnt all of them, and only a heap of ashes was left of the sons of the king. Kaushika was heartbroken. What is hankara? I have a hunch, but let's break it down. Loud vibration. Anyone watched the movie? What's that movie? The recent movie that became very famous?
Kantara.
Kantara. Anyone watched Kantara movie?
Yes.
He makes this noise, the like a kind of which has a very powerful vibration. So it is something like that voice that is taken out to call attention to something. So a loud vibration, a voice with a very high frequency, which is very powerful. So we have learned few new words today, right? Interesting. Hankara, Akshauhini. Okay. So he burnt, Kaushika he burnt all of them, and only a heap of ashes was left of the sons of the king. Kaushika was heartbroken. His army was gone and his children were dead. He was completely broken. He was like the ocean without its power, like a serpent with its fangs pulled out, like a bird whose wings had been severed. His pride was humbled and his face was like the setting sun. All its fierceness was gone. Without a word, with his head hanging down, with his eyes bent on the ground, Kaushika left the ashrama of Vashishta and went back to his kingdom. Kaushika's anger was appeased and his thoughts were always unappeased. Anger was unappeased and his thoughts were always hovering around the humiliating defeat at the hands of the cow's army in the ashrama of Vashishta. Kaushika was disgusted with everything and he made a son of his stay and mind the kingdom. He then went to the forest. He went to the slopes of the Himavan where the Kinnaras were. and he began to perform a great tapas with a desire to please Lord Mahadeva. After a time, the Lord was satisfied with the penance of Kaushika, and he appeared before him and asked him, "Why are you performing this tapas? What is it you desire? I will grant you anything you ask for." Kaushika prostrated before him, before him, and singing his praises, he said, "My lord, if you're pleased with me, then grant me this boon. I should be proficient in archery. Grant me that I'm a master of all divine astras." So listen to all the boons he's asking. Proficient in archery, master of all divine astras, please be gracious enough to accede to my request. Mahadeva said, "I have given all of them to you. Go in peace." Kaushika went back to his kingdom. His self-respect was restored, and with it his pride came back to him. It grew tenfold now. He told himself, "Vashishta, the great rishi, is as good as dead. How can he withstand the astras which are presided over by the gods?" Okay, so that's the end of chapter 21. Before we go, let's just quickly revise what we have read. So Kaushika is the son of Gadi. Okay, and then this whole story of Vishwamitra is being told by Sadananda to Rama and Lakshmana. Okay, in the presence of Vishwamitra. So Sadananda is telling about all the lineages of Vishwamitra, and saying that he was a king by name Kaushika. He was a famous king. He was a good king. He took care of his subjects very well. So all of that, and then he's talking about how he went past Vashishta Guha and met Sage Vashishta, and what we read today, right? Vashishta wanted to show him his hospitality, and that's when he saw this cow by name Kamadenu, and Kamadenu has two names. He's calling her as Shabala and Surabhi, both same person. Okay, so until seeing Kamadenu, Kaushika was very humble. He was saying, "I don't need anything from you. It's me who should honor you." He was like that. But the minute he saw this divine cow, he set his desire upon coveting that cow, that he wanted it for himself. And he said, "It should be with me because I'm the king and it will benefit more people instead of being with you." And then for Vashishta, he says, "She's like my life and everything, it's like taking away my tapas, and so I won't give." And then this fight ensues, right? He had how many, what did he had? One Akshauhini in number of army. So what's one Akshauhini? One Akshauhini is a big one. Like what are there in one Akshauhini? What all will be there? Elephants, chariots,
Horses and warriors.
Yeah. Okay. And so despite having all of this, Kamadenu was able to produce more and more warriors and fighters and everything, elephants too, and vanquish the entire army of Kaushika. And Kaushika's entire family was, what did Vashishta do to them?
Burnt them.
And what was the word you learned?
Burnt them.
Hankara.
Okay, burnt all of them to ashes. Then I want to ask you about something. He says, no, Shabala Surabhi is going and telling Vashishta, saying he's only a Kshatriya. Kshatriya is the king, okay, who kind of governs the kingdom. So they divide the society into four kinds of people who do different jobs to create a society together, right? So Kshatriyas are the people who will fight, warriors, protect, and run a kingdom. Okay, so they have a certain quality. And then there is people who study and who are who are teaching knowledge to people, giving knowledge to people. The teachers, they are called brahmanas. Okay, and then it's not the caste. It is this is how we need to understand it. It was divided the social classes. Very good. Thank you, Surya. So, and then there were, what are the other two? Okay, Shudras and the business, people who do business and people who do farming and other jobs. Okay, so the social class was divided like that. Now Surabhi is coming and saying, you have, but Vashishta is a great sage. Okay, so Vashishta is telling Surabhi, he's a king, he's so powerful, he's got all this army. And Surabhi is saying, but you have Brahma Bala, why are you scared? So what is Brahma Bala? We didn't unpack that word.
Like the power of Brahman.
Is that what it is?
Because like Bala is like strength.
Bala is strength.
And then Brahman is
No, let's not confuse with Brahmins. Brahman means the these days now they are talking about God particle, right? In yogic culture, Brahman means it is actually God particle. That is the closest English word we can use. So someone who has Brahma Bala means someone who is able to harness those frequency of energy is said to have Brahma Bala. Do I make sense? How many of you watch the serial? What is the serial you watch? Strange Things. Huh?
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. Do you girls watch Stranger Things? Arna, Adya, Kriya? Anyone, one of you watch Stranger Things? Oh, okay. So anyway, so what else can I
Oh.
say?
Marvel, like Thor,
Marvel.
stuff.
Maybe Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah. How they are harnessing different energies to mold things, to get things done, to move things and all, right? So rishis can actually do that because of their tapas. They can harness those Brahman, the part, those the literally God particle or divine, the energy. It's basically energy. Okay, so that's how. But they don't use it unnecessarily. So he never used it. Kamadenu was fighting, but when they came to attack him, he used Hankara, like he just, the previous lesson also we saw how Kapila burnt the 60,000 60,000 of the ancestors of Rama. Ikshvakus, the 60,000 rude princes who went to Indra. So he just looked at them. He was in tapas. He looked at them and he burnt them down. All this seems like some kind of supernatural thing, right? But they are able to, actually it's all, they are able to harness energy because of their meditation and their tapas, they are able to control their mind and control all the elements. Okay, so that's what is called Brahma Bala. So if I ask you a question, what is Brahma Bala? How would you explain to me? If someone asks you, what is Brahma Bala?
A God particle, which people who do tapas can use to do supernatural things.
Okay, so in short, you can say ability to harness the elements and energies according to your calling. Yeah, that's Brahma Bala. Okay. What is Hankara?
Loud vibration.
Okay, loud sound, yeah, with high vibration. What is Akshauhini?
Army.
Consisting of?
5 elephants.
No. Arna, you want to say?
No, like one fraction of it.
Yeah, what he said.
What is the Akshauhini?
One Akshauhini is 10. No, I'm saying the wrong thing.
You just say it's an army consisting of chariots, elephants, horses, and foot soldiers.
Yeah.
The exact number, we didn't go into that detail, so it's okay. You just say it's an army consisting of a huge number of chariots, elephants, horses, and foot soldiers. Okay. So now at the end of it, we'll end the thing. Tomorrow we'll continue with the with chapter 22. So at last now he goes back heartbroken, and now he is doing tapas to gain all these strengths. So he goes and gets all the divine astras, and he becomes proficient in archery. Now he wants to go and again attack Vashishta. That's where we are ending today. Okay. So did you enjoy today's class? So we
Yeah.
are in page 70.
Yes.
We'll continue that on Monday. Okay. That is called the power of the Brahman. And we'll read from there. Anyone has any questions? Anything to share? No? Okay. Let's say our closing prayers. Om. 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 Repeat with me or after me. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow at yoga class.
Thank you for the class, Navadati. Bye.
Welcome. Take care,
Bye.
Adya. I hope you get well soon by tomorrow.